Princess Qianqin seems to be a bit unnaturally powerful. In the heart of the battlefield surrounded by swirling black smoke, Xiao Yan's body rapidly retreated. Despite being protected by numerous forces, faint but glaring cuts marred his body. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, his eyes flashing with hesitation. Based on the signs of their recent clash, it seemed that Princess Qianqin and he were roughly evenly matched. Even after delivering a tremendous blow using his Amber Rock Soul Fire and Thunder Attribute Celestial Art, the Thunderball, which could shake the heavens, he hadn't even moved her a single step. Vroom, vroom. The energy ripples within the barrier still wreaked havoc, but two figures slowly emerged from the black smoke high above as time passed. CSI. Xiao Yan and Princess Qianqin. At this moment, Princess Qianqin's exquisite jade platform shattered beneath her feet, and gray thunder rumbled before her. She stood there, one hand holding an ancient zither, her posture in a defensive stance. However, for out of the 7 strings on the zither had snapped, and Princess Qianqin's expression and aura were far from pleasant. In contrast, Xiao Yan's body bore numerous wounds of all sizes, with blood even at the corner of his mouth, making him look even more miserable than Princess Qianqin. Yet, despite the seemingly terrifying clash, Xiao Yan had managed to hold his ground, earning him a grudging respect. No way. The power of the 7-string zither can easily kill a true first-tier reincarnation level expert. Princess Qianqin just unleashed all 7 strings, and this human only suffered minor external injuries. As they watched the scene unfold, a wave of awe struck their hearts once more. I didn't expect you to master soul power as well. That was truly a miscalculation. Otherwise, without the interference of that soul power just now, you would have been completely destroyed by my tune. Princess Qianqin waved her jade hand and retrieved the zither, a smile curling at the corner of her lips. It was only at that moment that she finally regarded Xiao Yan as a true opponent. Is that so? Xiao Yan's gaze turned cold as he stared intently at Princess Qianqin. Her face appeared calm, yet Xiao Yan's sharp senses told him that within her body, a strange and powerful force was gradually rising, awakening. That force was causing the mighty Baxia power hidden within Xiao Yan's own body to tremble violently, as if threatening to break free uncontrollably. Reincarnation is called reincarnation because it controls the power of reincarnation. The power of reincarnation is profound, and for beings of your level, it will destroy you. You may be a rare genius, but alas, a crippled genius is no genius. As Princess Qianqin's voice rang out, the energy around her began to grow ethereal, and the clouds above the barrier started to shake violently, as if a terrifying creature were about to emerge. Xiao Yan, will you surrender, or take my most powerful strike? Princess Qianqin sneered, waiting for Xiao Yan's response. Life or death was just a matter of a single thought. What's to fear? Stop wasting words. Bring it on. A fierce light flashed in Xiao Yan's eyes, and in the blink of an eye, countless energies erupted from his body, clearly preparing for his final strike. When masters clash, they strike with intent, but for those with extraordinary strength and pride, only the most powerful attack can solidify their invincible dominance. Whoosh, whoosh. Endless green strands of light surged out from Xiao Yan's body, and at the same time, a terrifying, identical power appeared around Princess Qianqin. Dragon King's power? Countless onlookers stared at the two figures in the sky, enveloped by green and silver light. Someone in the sacred altar's center murmured, how could Princess Qianqin possibly possess the Dragon King's power? Everyone held their breath, unwilling to miss a single moment of this breathtaking battle. It is said that Princess Qianqin left the heavenly sea when she was young, only to be sent back by a great power. It must be related to that. Alice thought for a moment, the realization dawning upon her. So this Princess Qianqin, always so low-key and gentle, was hiding such power behind the scenes. She must have been concealing her strength, and today's battle was likely her goal all along. Dragon! Princess Qianqin's graceful smile instantly vanished, and her aura grew heavy. Her eyes and the corners of her mouth turned chillingly cold. With a cold snort, endless frost radiated from her. The moment her words fell, silver energy suddenly surged from her body. At the same time, her seemingly fragile figure became radiant and crystalline, almost as if carved from ice. The middle-aged woman appeared stunningly beautiful. Her tall, slender figure was also draped in a silver robe, but on both her skin and the robe, strange patterns were etched. These patterns seemed to spread along with the silver energy, imbuing her with an eerie and mysterious power that resonated through the very heavens and earth. As Princess Qianqin underwent this strange transformation, the entire boundary space erupted with surging energy, and soon, a series of piercing spatial storms appeared without any warning. So, this unsettling feeling is actually the power of the Dragon King. Xiao Yan realized as he looked at the terrifying woman's figure behind Princess Qianqin, one that radiated a faint aura of pressure. It was clear now that this woman was relying on the strength of the Dragon King, because that energy woman was none other than one of the 9 Dragon Kings of the Dragon Clan. The Dragon God had 9 sons, each different in form, except for the Golden and Silver Dragon Kings, who retained the traditional dragon form. The other 7 were all uniquely shaped beings. However, it was undeniable that all of them were elites within the Great Thousand Worlds, and even a fraction of their power could amplify one's strength dramatically. Unleash the power of the Dragon King within you, or today, you will be buried here. Princess Qianqin's power sword, slowly turning her head to look at Xiao Yan. The silver glow around her emanated a terrifying, shredding wind capable of tearing apart any force with ease. Whose power is this among the 7 Dragon Kings? But Xiao Yan's gaze shifted as he realized the power of Battle. A deep, resonant voice echoed, and waves of azure water surged. Suddenly, the low, ancient sound of a great bell rang out, shaking the space around them. Beneath the freezing cold sound, Xiao Yan's body underwent a rare transformation. It's the power of Battle Dragon King? Princess Qianqin's beautiful eyes were filled with disbelief. She knew that, aside from the Golden and Silver Dragon Kings, Battle Dragon King's overall strength ranked second among the remaining 7. The Storm Dragon King, while formidable, didn't even make it into the top 3. The Storm Dragon King? After Princess Qianqin spoke, the fierce storm surrounding her seemed to respond, sending a dangerous signal toward Xiao Yan. The Storm Dragon King wasn't the most powerful of the 7 Dragon Kings, but the devastating power of the storm was enough to earn the title. The final confrontation of this battle would be a clash between the powers left behind by the Storm Dragon King and Battle Dragon King, 2 of the strongest beings. Roar, roar, roar. As the energy manifestation of the Storm Dragon King appeared around Princess Qianqin, and Xiao Yan unleashed the power of Battle Dragon King, the entire boundary was filled with the deafening roars of dragons. The dragon's roar echoed clearly as Xiao Yan's body became enveloped in brilliant azure light, the light piercing through the protection of the sacred flame armor, sinking into his skin and even the fine hairs on his body. The azure light slowly shaped itself into a thick, turtle-like dragon pattern, amplifying the terrifying aura around Xiao Yan to a suffocating level. As for Princess Qianqin, the storms raged around her. The power contained within those storms was enough to tear apart the entire boundary. Moments later, the human form of the Storm Dragon King shattered and instantly transformed into a massive, silver dragon several dozen meters long. It coiled within the raging storms, faintly hinting at its control over them, ready to form a deadly hurricane. The vast silver dragon wings shimmered with cold radiance, stretching like sharp blades. Wherever the wings brushed against the boundary, cracks began to appear, accompanied by the destructive winds that stung against one's skin and face. The power of the Storm Dragon King is indeed extraordinary. Xiao Yan's body was covered in slowly appearing azure dragon scales, and under the burning of the sacred flame armor, they became even more lush. But Xiao Yan could feel the overwhelming weight of energy coming from the scales, like the pressure of massive mountains, while a turtle shell also emerged behind him. With Battle's scales covering him, the sacred flame armor's burning enhancement, and the protection of the Battle shell, Xiao Yan felt as though with a mere gesture, His attacks could shatter this world, bringing forth an awe-inspiring, destructive power no different from a true Dragon Clan warrior. Power of the Storm Dragon King, Space Hurricane. Princess Qinqin's full attention was now fixed on the azure dragon scales that suddenly appeared on Xiao Yan. She barely spared a glance at the strange turtle shell behind him, and her voice rang out. Whoosh! Whoosh! The silver dragon flapped its wings, instantly breaking apart. However, the scattered silver energy united the surrounding spatial storms. Dozens of spatial storms converged to form a spatial hurricane, with extremely sharp blades spinning at high speed, their velocity so fast that they gave everyone a sense of dizziness. Sharp blades, spinning at high speeds. It's like a massive meat grinder made of countless rapidly rotating gears. Staring at the violent tearing force howling above the spatial hurricane before him, Xiao Yan's scalp tingled. The Storm Dragon King, Tamir, had reached the peak of mastery in wind elemental control. Although this wasn't the Storm Dragon King's true form, but only a fragment of her power, it was still enough to make Xiao Yan's expression grow serious. Dragon God Transformation, Fourth Transformation. As Xiao Yan's voice fell, his entire body was once again bathed in a green light. The green dragon scales completely enveloped him, transforming him into a true dragon man, a human with the scales of a dragon. A rather impressive body tempering technique. It seems the power of the Baxia Dragon King is truly as formidable as the legends say. It's a pity today, this princess will win for sure. Rest assured, I won't kill you. I'll knock you unconscious, and then... Princess Qinqin stood behind, and the spatial hurricane, with great intelligence, ruthlessly charged toward Xiao Yan. As it passed, the fierce, jagged silver wheel shredded and roared, causing the barrier and the void to shatter, even making the spatial forces fall eerily silent. Fifth Transformation. Dragon God Claw. Power of the Sacred Flame, Dragon God Claw. At this critical moment, Xiao Yan infused the 5 colored flames into his palm, then curled his fingers and viciously thrust his palm into the void before him. Poof! The silver spatial hurricane, like a sharp blade cutting through the barrier, cleaved the entire formation in two. But at that moment, a massive, several dozen foot-long green dragon claw fiercely resisted the silver hurricane, wrapping around its edges in a strange and forceful manner. The 5 colored flames surged, endlessly reborn no matter how many times they were torn apart by the spatial hurricane, continuously attaching themselves to the green dragon claw. Upon that claw, a terrifying fluctuation, enough to crush all things in the world, surged forward at an astonishing speed. Heavy, ancient, without even engaging in battle, the very presence of that green energy exuded a sense of indestructible mountains and seas. Tear them apart. As the silver spatial hurricane's attack weakened and even wobbled slightly, Princess Qinqin could no longer sit still. She roared, pouring her brown flames and all her reincarnation power into the attack. Crush them! Xiao Yan gritted his teeth, blood seeping from the gaps between his teeth. The terrifying spatial wind made his corners of his mouth and eyes rapidly stretch. The skin and flesh on his green dragon claw had already become indistinguishable, leaving only 5 bony, skeletal fingers. They looked horrific. With all his strength, Xiao Yan pushed forward. Boom! With one claw strike, the windstorm space, driven by the unique wind force, was forcefully torn open, and the hurricane suddenly weakened. As if a deflated ball, its power diminished, and the entire space became thinner. Princess Qinqin, it's over. Clap, clap. As the sound echoed, Princess Qinqin, whose aura had weakened, was suddenly trapped in the air, 5 green beams of light enveloping her, imprisoning her body. Xiao Yan. Watching this scene, the mockery and contempt in Princess Qinqin's eyes completely disappeared. I lost. Only at this moment did Princess Qinqin tremble as she spoke. Human, your hand. Are you out of your mind? If you hadn't broken the spatial hurricane's tearing power just now, I'm afraid the outcome would have been different. Princess Qinqin, seeing Xiao Yan's frenzied expression, couldn't help but admonish him. It's nothing. Xiao Yan patted his hand and smiled. However, as he turned to look at his hand, a charred smell lingered. The flesh on his palm had already been melted away by the scorching battle. The 5 fingers, now bone white with no flesh or blood, looked like the skeletal hand of a long-dead corpse. But the outcome was finally good. At least he won. As for Princess Qianqin's last words, Xiao Yan merely smiled faintly. Even if he had ultimately lost, with the protection of the Baxia shell, defeating her wouldn't have been difficult. It just wouldn't have been as shocking as this moment. As for the condition of his hand, it didn't trouble him. After all, he was a genuine alchemist. Though the pill to regrow flesh and bone was precious, it was far from unattainable. We won. Seeing the gloomy expressions of the eastern and western clans around him, Elder Marvin hesitated and spoke cautiously, as if what he saw before him was extremely unreal, like a dream. Yes, we won. Looking at the stunning scene in the barrier, Little Yi's handsome face was streaked with tears. His nose reddened, and an overwhelming sense of sorrow surged forth. Inside the sacred altar barrier, Xiao Yan and Princess Qianqin were still exchanging words, but by now, everyone knew. The competition for this election was over. Before there was a chance for any other action, Little Yi stepped forward and instantly appeared beside Xiao Yan within the boundary. At this point, there was no need to continue the situation any further. Moreover, the princess of the Elven race had been cultivating since childhood, learning noble arts and culture. Although she appeared domineering and aggressive, she had a very open-minded view when it came to matters of victory or defeat. Hoo-hoo. Looking at Little Yi's arrival, Xiao Yan had initially planned to hold on a little longer. Unfortunately, the intense weakness spreading through his body caused his legs to give way, and he collapsed onto Little Yi's shoulder. To use so much power all at once, it really took a toll on me. Xiao Yan grinned, then leaned against Little Yi's back. In his dough core, a terrifying sense of dryness emerged. Even the power of Baxia was stirring within him, and the sight of his bony fingers, resembling white bones, was particularly chilling. I have to admit, you are the strongest person I've ever met. If you truly step into reincarnation, I would never stand a chance against you. I look forward to the day you enter reincarnation. Princess Qianqin waved away the residual energy in the air and shook her head. As for Xiao Yan, he was a true formidable foe, without a doubt the strongest she had encountered in her entire life. By the way, may I ask, Princess Qianqin, what is the situation with the Storm Dragon King? After a pause, Xiao Yan weakly spoke again. The 9 Dragon Kings' might was immense. It wasn't that Xiao Yan coveted the Storm Dragon King's power, but he wanted to use the Storm Dragon King to trace the whereabouts of Baxia Dragon King. The power of the Storm Dragon King was something I acquired by chance in my youth. As for his whereabouts, even I can't track them down. However, she likely has deep connections with the Holy See or the Angel clan. Princess Qianqin shook her head and stepped back out of the boundary. The contest is over. The 3 major tribes have been completely dismantled, and the next king of the Fire Spirit tribe has been clearly decided. Does anyone have any objections? As the farce in the arena came to an end, Second Elder Marlin took a step forward. Brown flames surrounded him like a warm current, mending the broken holy altar boundary. His voice was booming, reverberating through the entire space, shaking all who were present. Such power, with its terrifying pressure radiating from him, sent chills down everyone's spine. Truly, he was a leader of the Fire Spirit tribe. Alice is here. Congratulations, Little E. Princess Qianqin also offers her congratulations, Little E. Just as Second Elder Marlin finished speaking, Princess Alice and Princess Qianqin gracefully bowed. Even though they had laid aside their prejudices, they spoke slowly. Congratulations, Lord Little E. The Elven experts who had been watching from behind also cupped their hands in salute upon hearing this. Second Elder, my second brother's injuries are severe. It's best to take him for treatment as soon as possible. My matters can wait. Despite the overwhelming adulation from so many powerful figures, Little E showed no sign of joy. Instead, he furrowed his brows and urgently addressed the Second Elder. Is this guy, really prioritizing the life of a human over the prestigious position of the next king of the fire spirit tribe? The king of the fire spirits is always a powerful being, at least at the 5th-tier reincarnation stage. Not to mention, they control the entire Elven race, a position powerful enough to stand at the peak of the Great Thousand Worlds. Countless onlookers watched Little Yi's behavior with growing curiosity, but none dared make any rash moves. Very well. Alice, Qianqin, Marvin, with the collapse of the 3 tribes, I will have you channel your power into our fire spirit tribe. After a few days, we will hold the coronation ceremony again. Second Elder Marlin, with Xiao Yan and Little Yi in tow, transformed into a streak of light and flew toward the bottom of the Elven sacred altar. The Elven sacred altar stood at the highest point, while the headquarters of the fire spirit tribe was located at the base. This is the headquarters of our fire spirit tribe. I'll take you to the apothecary's shop. Elder Yao has a wealth of fine medicinal materials that can speed up the healing of your injuries. Second Elder Marlin led the way as he walked. Looking around, the so-called fire spirit tribe headquarters was nestled deep in the heart of a bustling forest. The area glowed with countless spots of light, and the air was rich with vitality. The ground was covered with layers of strange, gem-like crystals resembling agate, seamlessly blending with the natural surroundings. Most of the buildings in the forest were extravagant, but many of them were built upon massive ancient trees, their branches supporting the structures. Green leaves, life energy, it was truly harmonious with the essence of the Elven race. The Elven race's life tree was also their true holy ground. As the 3 moved deeper, they arrived at a place surrounded by brown flames. It was a circular area, 100 meters wide, where no trees or weeds grew. On the ancient tree, lines resembling the shape of a human body began to appear, carrying with them an ancient and mysterious wave of energy. At this moment, several exquisite wooden houses materialized on the tree, but at the base of the ancient tree, strange black marks began to emerge. Just a glance at these black marks sent a dizzying sensation over anyone who looked at them. Elder Yao, open the door. Second Elder Marlin led the 2 of them with ease, arriving at the top of the Tree of Life. He knocked on the 4th wooden house from the top. This is the Tree of Life, where the Elven race has lived for generations. Cultivating and meditating here has results that far exceed expectations, Little Yi explained. Also, because of the nature of this ancient tree, the houses here have special features. Each house contains a separate space for the stronger members of our Elven race to reside. Such a great place, Xiao Yan nodded. Even he couldn't help but feel fond of this space. By the way, Second Elder, what about the Grand Elder and the clan leader? Are they not here? While explaining, Little Yi suddenly seemed to recall something. He shook his head and then focused his gaze on Second Elder Marlin. Based on previous records, every time there had been a contest for the election, the Grand Elder had always personally led the charge. Why was it the Second Elder this time? Could it be that internal issues had arisen within the fire spirits? Cut the chatter. First, get those injuries of yours treated. Second Elder Marlin smiled faintly, though his smile didn't seem entirely friendly. You 2 still need to work hard later. No slacking off. Unfazed by Little Yi's sharp observation, Second Elder Marlin didn't show any surprise. After all, Little Yi was the next king of the fire spirits, and with his reincarnation seal and sacred flame power, he could foresee all the coming disasters. But what was about to happen next might be the real turning point for the fire spirits. They're coming. Second Elder, there's no need to be so ruthless every time. Do you know how expensive these wooden doors are? How many times have you broken them now? A hoarse voice came from within, tinged with dissatisfaction and resentment, as Second Elder Marlin knocked on the door of the 4th wooden house on the ancient tree. Creak. The wooden door, adorned with mysterious patterns, was difficult to open without the proper technique. It slowly creaked open, revealing a figure who seemed to manipulate the space with a small vortex. Didn't you go to preside over the election contest? A figure emerged from the door, a male elf who looked almost identical to a human middle-aged man. He had no pointed ears or sharp angles, and if you didn't look closely, you might mistake him for a human. A guest, Second Elder Marlin said coldly. You have 1 incense stick's worth of time. Marlin then stepped aside, revealing the 2 behind him. Elder Yao, this is my second brother. He was badly injured in the contest. Could you take a look at him? Little Yi spoke urgently, stepping aside to reveal Xiao Yan. No need to trouble yourself so much. Just handle your own matters first, and I'll feel more at ease, Xiao Yan communicated with Little Yi through soul power. Sure, second brother, Little Yi responded. Elder Yao is a renowned pharmacist in the Fire Spirit clan. His medical skills are unmatched. Plus, who knows, you might even gain some benefits. Heh. Little Yi smiled slyly. Although the Fire Spirit clan was powerful, there were still sectarian biases. Even with Xiao Yan's terrifying talents, the Fire Spirits wouldn't make promises so easily. However, Xiao Yan was his second brother, who had traveled far to help him. Little Yi couldn't let him leave empty-handed. Ahem. Little Yi, are you plotting with your second brother to deceive the Fire Spirits? Elder Yao's voice was full of playful sarcasm. Little Yi and Xiao Yan exchanged a startled glance at Elder Yao's teasing. Late-stage essence transformation soul power. The casual remark caused Xiao Yan to shudder as if struck by electricity. His spiritual palace trembled violently, sending a wave of intense heart-pounding pressure through his body. All right, hurry up. Otherwise, I'm worried, Second Elder Marlin urged. Come in, you 2 interesting little fellows. Elder Yao gestured, and the door to the 4th house of the Tree of Life closed behind them. As they entered, faint black mist seeped from the roots of the Tree of Life, a troubling sign that they were facing a great danger that needed to be addressed. Phew, what a guy. Although your body tempering techniques are strong, this is clearly an act of not fearing death. Your palm is mangled, reduced to nothing but 5 bony fingers. Upon entering Elder Yao's room, the old man immediately laid Xiao Yan flat and began scrutinizing him closely, as though examining a rare and precious treasure, especially when Xiao Yan's hand, displaying the dragon god claw, was revealed. Senior, my douqi is severely depleted, and my body is covered in wounds. If you keep going like this, Xiao Yan's pale lips showed signs of exhaustion, clearly unwilling to continue in this way. I'll give you a great revival pill. Recovery liquid. Hearing Xiao Yan's words, Elder Yao rummaged through the nearby herb cabinet, pulling out pill after pill, each brimming with intense power. Without considering any possible side effects, he handed them all to Xiao Yan in a hurry. Rip. Xiao Yan immediately recognized these pills as being at least of the 6th grade immortal rank, with even a few 8th grade holy pills mixed in. He sat cross-legged, determined to absorb and refine their energy. This act caused Second Elder Marlin, who was standing by, to click his tongue in surprise. It was rare to see someone so bold, one to feed, the other to consume. Anyone else would have hesitated to absorb so many high-grade pills at once, as even a small mistake could result in an explosion of the body and certain death. This guy, Xiao Yan, defeated Alice and Princess Qianqin in the competition, helping Little Yi claim the title of king. Marlin remarked from his chair, watching as Elder Yao searched for pills and Xiao Yan absorbed them. Oh, defeat is defeat. Elder Yao muttered absent-mindedly, continuing his search. By the way, Princess Qianqin still holds the origin power left by the Storm Dragon King, Timir, but in the end, she couldn't match this guy. What's that? Wait, Marlin, explain this clearly to me. Someone who hasn't even reached the reincarnation level, and he was able to defeat both princesses? The next moment, Elder Yao snapped back to attention, staring at Xiao Yan, who was meditating with his eyes closed. He looked shocked. Are you sure? Not only does he possess the sacred flame, but there's also the scent of the sacred king's cultivation technique on him. The problem troubling our clan may need the combined efforts of those 2 to resolve. Marlin shook his head, a hint of amusement in his eyes as he looked at Elder Yao. Impossible gulp. Elder Yao suddenly halted his movements. His body froze mid-air, staring at Xiao Yan with a strange and fearful expression, tinged with an odd excitement. While we're at it, you should tell us everything about the Fire Spirit Clan situation. After all, time is running out, and we'll need their help with the upcoming challenges. Marlin's smile vanished in an instant, replaced by a look of unease. Even with her strength, she felt a sense of foreboding when speaking of this matter. But even with your 4th-tier strength, you couldn't handle that thing. Even with their sacred flame, their strength is too weak. If we continue like this, it will only lead to death. Elder Yao shook his head, outright rejecting the idea. Speak. With our strength, the strongest among the awakened fire spirits, combined with their sacred fire, we may still have hope. Otherwise, you know what will happen if that thing succeeds. All the powerful beings in our sacred ground will be... Marlin's voice grew cold, and a murderous aura filled the space, making the atmosphere tense. Fine. You too listen carefully. Are you wondering why the Great Elder hasn't stepped forward to lead? Because the Fire Spirit clan is facing an unprecedented calamity. After the First World War, under the leadership of Goddess Yao Ji, we, along with the Sacred King of the Xiao clan, managed to quell the global conflict. Then the Fire Spirit clan leader returned to the clan, but soon after, he passed away due to a hidden illness. To honor the late leader's accomplishments, we buried him at the center of the Elven nest, for future generations to worship and pray. Unfortunately, we underestimated the power of the extraterritorial evil clan. Although the leader passed away, his body contained a vast accumulation of evil energy. This energy, through dark sorcery, escaped our detection. Evil thoughts took root in the nest, and by the time we noticed, it was too late. Elder Yao's voice was filled with deep regret. But the leader of the fire spirits, such a mighty figure, shouldn't have fallen. After hearing this, Xiao Yan felt a weight settle in his mind. This situation seemed far beyond his control. For many long years, the Fire Spirit clan was without a leader, as the leader's totem had been lost. The countless powerful beings who entered the Elven nest for seclusion showed no signs of awakening, and our secret arts could not call them back. The Great Elder had no choice but to enter the Elven nest alone. Upon entering, he found it had become tainted with dark energy. There, he discovered the evil power within the late leader's body. However, because of this, the Grand Elder is also trapped inside the Elven nest, using his body as a seal to suppress the evil-minded monster. He himself is now in a difficult position, unable to advance or retreat. Marlin continued. What is the Grand Elder's strength? Little E paused for a moment, furrowing his brow, and suddenly spoke up. The Grand Elder's strength has already reached the peak of the 4th-tier reincarnation level, Elder Yao replied, his voice carrying a serious tone. Peak of the reincarnation level? Little E was confused. The classification of reincarnation levels can only be understood once you reach that level. It's only natural that you don't know, Elder Yao explained. The reincarnation level is divided into 3 stages: pre-reincarnation, reincarnation, and peak reincarnation. While the difference may seem small between each stage, the gap is actually vast. In terms of normal human strength, 3 first-tier pre-reincarnation experts are equivalent to 1 first-tier reincarnation expert, and 1/3 of a first-tier peak reincarnation expert. This is the basic classification, without considering factors like combat power, techniques, and other variables. However, except for a few exceptionally strong individuals who can transcend this system, the vast majority of powerful beings must adhere to it, Elder Yao continued, explaining like a teacher. So there are so many levels in reincarnation? Little E and Xiao Yan both sighed, understanding at last. Reincarnation level is not only about absolute control over one's strength, but also about understanding the cycles of one's own life. It's a deeper comprehension of the laws of the world and the creation of all living beings within the Great Thousand Worlds. It's profoundly mysterious, Marlin, the second elder, added, clearly implying that explaining the power of reincarnation could not be done in a few words. By the way, if this matter troubling our Fire Spirit clan requires us to go deeper into the Elven nest, what are the 2 senior strengths? This was the most pressing question now. I am at the 4th-tier reincarnation level, the main offensive force, while Elder Yao is at the peak of the 3rd-tier reincarnation level, focusing mainly on alchemy and soul cultivation. This time, we plan to take you both into the Elven nest and hope that with the sacred flame of yours, we can finally resolve the issue troubling our clan. Only then will we have enough time to formally grant you your title." The two exchanged glances, speaking in unison. "Senior elders, is the reincarnation seal on Little Yi's forehead also related to the Elven nest? And the sacred flame?" During their conversation, Xiao Yan had successfully recovered and stood up to ask. Indeed, the Elven nest holds the sacred flame, but that sacred flame consumed too much of its original power during the First Great War. After it was further affected by the evil-minded monster, it's hard to say what the current situation is like, Elder Yao said, his face grim. "We may need to enter and deal with the monster first before anything can be done." When Xiao Yan asked this question, both Marlin, the second elder, and Elder Yao's faces turned grave. Although the sacred flame was incredibly precious, it still paled in comparison to the vastness and importance of the Elven nest to the Fire Spirit clan. "Big brother." Little E didn't answer immediately, but quietly stayed by Xiao Yan's side. If even a 4th-tier reincarnation expert and a peak 3rd-tier reincarnation expert felt troubled, and the Grand Elder with his peak 4th-tier reincarnation strength could only turn into a seal, it was clear that the strength of this evil-minded monster was beyond measure. Little E was already quite satisfied with Xiao Yan risking such danger to help him secure the position of the next king. Prideful as Little E was, he would never ask Xiao Yan for help, especially given how dire the situation was. "We can give it a try. After all, as the wielders of the sacred flame, purging the evil is our duty," Xiao Yan said with a smile, looking towards the two elders, his meaning clear. "You really haven't disappointed me," Marlin, the second elder, said, staring at Xiao Yan with a somewhat dazed expression. After a moment, a hint of admiration appeared in his eyes. With Xiao Yan's heroic ambition, if he helps us overcome this disaster, the entire Fire Spirit clan is willing to form an eternal alliance with the boundless fire domain. Marlin, the second elder, was momentarily stunned by Xiao Yan's boldness, but after a moment of reflection, he couldn't help but admire Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan had defeated 2 princesses at the 1st-tier reincarnation level. His talent and strength were indeed astonishing. But the Grand Elder and the evil-minded monster were far different from these long-time rulers of the clan. Both in terms of strength and their decisive combat methods, they far surpassed the 2 princesses. Unfortunately, although Marlin, the second elder, had sent someone to investigate Xiao Yan's background, he was unaware that Xiao Yan was from the Xiao clan. If he had known that, the situation would have been entirely different. "Since you're ready, let's go." Xiao Yan cracked his knuckles, his eyes gleaming with determination. "You two are too weak for us to feel at ease, so we still need to make some preparations before we enter." Marlin, the second elder, suddenly looked at Elder Yao, his eyes filled with a teasing expression. The expression on Elder Yao's face suddenly twitched, his eyes continuously shifting, and within moments, he showed signs of wanting to leave. "It's already this late, and you're still dawdling?" Second Elder Marlin scolded Elder Yao harshly, without any mercy, in front of the 2 younger ones. "Always trying to extort me," Elder Yao grumbled, clearly displeased, as he reluctantly pulled 2 exquisite stone boxes from behind his desk. "Oh, what are these?" As soon as Little E saw the 2 stone boxes, the elven power inside him began to stir restlessly, as if it was desperately trying to consume whatever was inside them. "These are Elven seeds. They will temporarily give you 2 the strength of the reincarnation level. Although the duration is short, it will be enough to help you survive during this mission." Elder Yao looked at the stone boxes with an expression of pain, as though parting with something precious. "Heh, senior, such a great item." Little E suddenly grinned widely at Elder Yao, making him feel an unpleasant chill run down his spine. "TCH, these things are only created when a reincarnation-level expert uses their elven essence to condense them. Who would waste their essence just to create something like this for no reason?" Elder Yao rolled his eyes. "Now that it's ready, let's go. This matter concerns the highest secret of our Fire Spirit clan," Second Elder Marlin said, urging the 2. "Let's go." Little E and Xiao Yan each took one of the stone boxes, and under the guidance of the 2 elders, the 4 of them quietly made their way to a wooden house at the top of the life tree. The wooden house was quite small and appeared rather simple, but the entire space was filled with a profound, ethereal atmosphere. An ancient place. At this moment, Xiao Yan's imperial flame ring, which had been dormant for so long, also stirred faintly. The feeling was as if he was about to reunite with a lover he hadn't seen in years, full of longing. In the wooden house at the life tree's top, there were no decorative items, only a mysterious glowing portal standing in the center. Elven seal. Break. In the center of the first wooden house at the life tree, surrounded by the ancient formation, second Elder Marlin gestured with his jade-like fingers. Brown flames, carrying an ancient aura, surged out and quickly merged with the ancient portal. Vom! The portal released an ancient wave of energy, easily enveloping the four of them, pulling them into it as they were transported towards the elven nest. The wooden house at the top of the life tree served as a spatial conduit, allowing them to reach the elven nest in just 10 breaths. So, this is the elven nest? After the brief moment of transition, the four entered the elven nest. Xiao Yan looked around at the unusual space and asked hesitantly. It was a vast forest, resembling a blend of forest and altar. The trees here were shaped like numerous bird nests, large and small, each surrounded by mysterious, swirling energy. Looking out, Xiao Yan's sharp senses detected terrifyingly powerful forces emanating from the many nests scattered throughout the forest. It was clear that the Fire Spirit clan had survived in the Great Thousand Worlds for so long not by accident. After all, the energy in the dozens of nests around them was all from the Reincarnation level? Such a formidable presence could make countless powers tremble in awe. However, Xiao Yan's keen soul energy soon picked up something unusual. Deep within the center of the forest, a huge collapsed nest appeared, emitting faint, eerie energy. The aura felt like a devouring demon, seeking to consume all the energy in its path. Outside the nests, radiant energy frequently pulsed, accompanied by the sound of humming energies. It seemed that once one entered, it would be hard to leave. Although the evil creature's sinister thoughts have been suppressed by the Great Elder and its power can't escape, the Elven Nest has become a place where entry is possible, but exit is not. That's why we are in such a rush to eliminate that evil creature. After all, the many powerful figures in seclusion within the Elven Nest are the backbone of our Fire Spirit clan. Second Elder Marlin explained solemnly, seeing the confusion on Xiao Yan's face. The nest can protect them from the evil creature's harm, but if anything happens to the Great Elder, the ancient foundation of our Fire Spirit clan will be destroyed. He added, his face dark with worry. Let's go, it's just ahead. Elder Yao released his soul power, remaining alert to the terrifying forces surrounding them. Is that the statue of Goddess Yaoji? Not long after, the four arrived at a vast open area at the center of the elven nest. Little Yi's eyes locked onto a stone statue in the distance, and he couldn't help but growl softly. Even as he gazed at it, the reincarnation seal on his forehead emitted a scorching wave of energy. Wait, what's that? Following Little Yi's astonished voice, Xiao Yan was equally surprised when he saw the stone eyes of the statue of Yao Ji. Above the statue of Yao Ji, in the stone eyes, a ball of purple flames danced joyfully, like a spirit born from nature itself. The aura radiating from it was unmistakably the sacred flame. The elderly figure in front of the Yao Ji statue, with their eyes closed in quiet meditation, must be the so-called Great Elder, right? Xiao Yan murmured. And as for that noble golden coffin, it must belong to the previous leader of the Elven race, he continued. Shifting his gaze, Xiao Yan saw a middle-aged woman, graceful in appearance, her body enveloped by two distinct auras, quietly sitting in meditation. She wore a gray gown, with the hem of her skirt intricately adorned with countless brown flame-gold threads. Her skin, faintly visible, and her jade-like fingers were covered in delicate flame patterns that emitted an overwhelming aura of power. However, in front of her, a golden coffin stood silently, its surface gleaming with golden light, now marred by dark, twisted lines. These sinister energies clearly emanated from within the golden coffin. Great Elder Eliza, Second Elder Marlin spoke gravely, his eyes filled with a deep sense of seriousness. In the Elven race, Names can either be inherited from the royal lineage of the parents, or they can be chosen to follow human customs, which is why there are two different kinds of names, Little E explained in a low voice. Step back a little. This area, within 100 meters, is surrounded by the Great Elder's formation. We need to prevent the monstrous energy from spilling out and spreading, Little E added. At that moment, the keen-eyed Elder Yao stretched out his hand to stop the three of them, his voice taking on an eerie tone. Good. Hearing Elder Yao's warning, the three of them stepped back. At this point, they couldn't afford to make any mistakes, as it would ruin their final opportunity. Whoosh whoosh. At the same time, as if affected by the auras of the four, the Great Elder's tightly shut eyelids suddenly revealed a black halo hovering over the left eye. Whum! As the black aura appeared, Xiao Yan and Little Yi's bodies involuntarily trembled. A massive pressure, equivalent to hundreds of thousands of pounds, weighed down on them, causing their breaths to become disordered. Poof! Seeing this, second Elder Marlin casually waved her hand, and dazzling brown flames immediately wrapped around the two, easing their situation. How strong! Xiao Yan and Little Yi exchanged a glance, and then purple and amber flames emerged from their bodies. The stone box containing the Elven seed was also tightly held in their hands. What should we do now? Xiao Yan asked, frowning after a long silence. After a while, we will work together, using the formation's power to awaken this evil creature. But when that happens, we won't be able to pay attention to you. The sacred flame should not be exposed too early, or it will scare this creature away. Once we succeed, you will lend us your sacred flame, and we will deliver the final blow. They exchanged a glance, and their voices revealed an uncommon seriousness. All right, let's begin. As the words fell, the temperature in the Elven nest rose sharply. Second Elder Marlin and Elder Yao both floated into the air, their ancient and vast energies rippling like a tidal wave. Flame of Yao Ji. On second Elder Marlin's body, purple flames resembling crystal treasures rose up. Although these flames were not as powerful as the purple flames within Little Yi's reincarnation seal, they carried the aura of the sacred flame, and when combined with her terrifying reincarnation power, they exuded a divine aura strong enough to purify all things. Soul Flame. Elder Yao howled as a blue flame appeared on his chest, resembling the cold core of an ancient, long-dormant frost. As soon as it was released, Xiao Yan and Little Yi, hiding in the shadows, felt their souls violently tremble and freeze in place. Such terrifying pressure, Xiao Yan and Little Yi thought, both of them gripped by fear. A battle of this level could instantly turn them into nothingness if they were even slightly affected. Watching the two's attacks unfold, the usually calm Great Elder Eliza's eyelids twitched.